Now this is very interesting. This guy's got a Subaru Solterra. I almost never see Solterras here, but that Subaru Solterra is no different than this right here. This is a Toyota BZ4X. And here's the thing, like I'm looking at this now, they're charging from say 0, because when this lady got here, she had 5% remaining on her battery. She's charging from 5%, and right now it's at 73%. So in the amount of time that it took me to go from 63 to 96, she went from 0 to 73. Now my guess is, if let's say your target was 80 or 85%, and that's where you're going to stop, notice that this thing is charging slow, 53 kilowatts, and it's only at 73%. The Subaru Solterra and the Toyota BZ4X are basically twins. It's like, I guess you could call them fraternal twins. Like, it's the exact same car. The only difference is the badging, because everything else about it is pretty much the exact same, right? And the thing which is crazy is when Toyota put these things out, these things have very slow charging. Now, who has fast charging is Kia and Hyundai. Kia and Hyundai, like right here, you have this Kia EV6 right there. Kia and Hyundai have fast charging where fast charging is possible. They have the fastest power. What is this bitch shaking her head and shit? It's like, you're not even supposed to be over here. See, they need to put a fucking wall here and say, no, all you idiots, you go that way. It's like, why are you coming over here? You're not even an electric car. But anyway, all I'm saying is Kia and Hyundai, they have the best, fastest charging rates right now. GM, Ford, everybody, it's funny, GM, Ford, and we haven't really seen Stellantis yet, but because they're saying that the Charger EV and the Wagoneer S are based on 400-volt architecture, I can guess that those things charge probably no better than my Lyriq does, which is actually fast, because my Lyriq charges faster than the BZ4X, the Subaru Solterra. But America is behind in electric vehicle technology. And a lot of these naysayers, oh, we don't care, we don't want EVs. Listen, y'all can, it's funny, I go on YouTube, I'm hearing these people talking this shit all day long. Oh, Americans don't want EVs, the EVs aren't selling. It's like, no, they are selling. You may not want one, but a lot of other people want one. A lot of other people are buying them, and the sales are gradually increasing. And even when the depreciation hits these things hard, the simple fact is what you're leading to is a proliferation of cheap electric vehicles. So guess what that means? That means that the college student that can't afford to get in a more expensive car, that college student's going to end up buying a Tesla Model 3 or a Tesla Model Y simply because they can't afford anything else, and the Teslas have depreciated the most. Or they may end up getting something a little bit nicer that's an EV simply because the depreciation has put it in their grasp. Now, the only thing I would say remaining to be done is for the insurance companies to somehow figure out a way to offer lower insurance on electric vehicles. In order for that to happen, obviously the electric vehicle manufacturer is going to have to put out more parts, make it so that bumpers are easily available, make it so that, most of the parts that would normally get injured in an accident are readily available. If the insurance companies can decrease the price of insuring a typical EV, especially one the size of one of these BZ4Xs, I think that would seriously make these things way more affordable. Right now, my Jeep SRT and my Cadillac Lyriq, I'm paying $300 a month for both, just in case you want to know. And oh shit, Cybertruck. You got the black one, got the black Cybertruck. Oh shit, black Cybertruck. Okay, so anyway, the bottom line is, yeah, if the insurance were to increase, if the insurance were to be a little bit better, that would help a lot. And when it comes to like college students buying these things, these are like the perfect vehicles for college students, electric vehicles. First of all, on most college campuses, they do have electric vehicle charging if you need it. Most of these college students live at home, so that means that they can charge pretty much at home, they live with their parents in mommy's basement or daddy's attic, whatever it is. So in many cases, electric vehicles make a lot of sense for them. Not only that, that inundates them from the fluctuations of gasoline. So I'm telling you, when this election is over, gas prices are going right back up. Kamala and Biden playing games with the gas pump and playing games with the Saudis. They trying to keep gas prices as low as they can. Unfortunately, the bottom line is they really can't do much better than they're doing right now. And gas is still $3 a gallon if you get regular. Premium is still higher than that. So they can play all these fucking games, but the bottom line is I'm not fooled. As soon as this election ends, gas prices are going right back up. So that's just a reality. Now, that said, college students and people like me who have electric vehicles, we don't have to worry about gas prices. We're not thinking about, when I go to bed at night, I ain't thinking about gas prices. A lot of other people are, because gas prices are still high. $3 a gallon is still high, no matter how you slice it. It's lower than it was, but that's only because this is like right before the election. We have like less than 35 days or something until the election. And as soon as that election's over, shit's going right back up. And we know it. We already know what's happening. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, what the fuck are these idiots doing? Why is this guy waving at this guy? What the hell is he doing? What the hell is this guy's from? Hey, idiot, why are you waving? Why are you telling this guy to back up? Anyway, I'm going to tell this guy in the Subaru Solterra that if he gets behind me, I'll be done in a couple of minutes and he could just jump on this fast charger. But it's like, no matter how fast this fast charger is, these cars, his and this BZ4X, those things charge slow. So I might let him know in a second. Yeah, I'm going to tell him in a minute. Let him know. Yeah, I'm gonna be done in a couple of minutes. In fact, let me get over there and let him know. Hey, bro, I'm gonna be done in about 5 minutes. And if you want to jump on this fast charger,
it don't work at all.
Yeah, if you want to jump on the fast charger, I'm gonna be done in about 5 minutes. Yeah. Just let you know. All right. So line up behind me. All right.
You by accident, sorry.
All right. Yeah, sure. You're welcome. All right, see, that was easy. But yeah, I mean, I think, it's still the very beginning. Yeah, there are hybrids. They do have a part to play. Damn sure not these Stellantis hybrids. Them shits are bursting into flames and shit. Not the Stellantis hybrids. But I think the hybrids have a part to play. And then on top of that, some gas cars still have a part to play. But for the most part, the future is electric vehicles, whether you like it or not. There's nothing you can do about it. The governments have already spoken. When they take a look at fucking Georgia underwater, it's like basically they're like, yeah, global warming's real. Fuck the naysayers, and that's it. And there's nothing you can do about it. So that's just it. That's the way the market's just going. So, resign yourself to the way things are going to be because you really don't have a choice. So here's a little story. You may have heard about it. You may not have. And this was from October 3rd. EVgo stock soars on government loan. JP Morgan upgrade. So, as you know, as a Cadillac Lyriq owner, I have EVgo charging. I charge for 2 years free. So basically, I bought the car. I saved somewhere around maybe $13,500 thanks to the $7,500 tax credit, a $5,000 GM rebate for canceling my 2023 order. And in addition to that, I actually should add in that if you actually do the math of how much electricity I use for the car, over 2 years, it's roughly about $5,000. So you figure about $2,500 a year. I drive about 1,000 miles per month based upon my speedometer readings. And that kind of driving would cost me a fortune in that SRT gas guzzler. But now the government is giving over $1 billion in loans to EVgo to ensure that they build more charging stations. So, as you know, I also got the Tesla adapter, which allows me to charge at the Tesla superchargers. But I won't be using it until I either were to go out of state and actually need to use it, or if the 2 years is over and I felt the need to charge away from home. Once the 2 years free charging with EVgo is over, I pretty much will only be charging at home. And that's basically just the way I see it. Now, if I were to go out of state or if I were to take that car on a road trip, which I probably wouldn't, I'd be able to use the Tesla chargers, or I'd be able to use the EVgo chargers, simply because they recognize my car at this point. They know the VIN number, and the chargers have plug-and-play auto pay, immediate action. So as soon as you plug in, it starts to charge. It says the company expects to put 7,500 fast charging stalls around the U.S. by 2030. JP Morgan upgraded EVgo's stock, saying it will outperform its rivals' shares in the next few years. Now, I don't hold EVgo stock. It doesn't pay a dividend because right now it's not really profitable, I don't believe. So that's a stock that I probably could buy. It's dirt cheap right now. It's just that it doesn't pay a dividend, so I don't really want it that badly. I could buy it, but my problem is right now I've pretty much committed to buying dividend-paying stock. See, the thing about dividend-paying stock is when your money is just sitting there, whether the market goes up or down, as long as they continue to pay the dividend, you keep on raking in more money. And what that can translate into is that, let's say you have $100,000 worth of dividend-paying stocks, you probably have more than $5,000 coming in every single year in dividends, because, as you know, you get paid a fraction of each share. And if you hold a lot of shares, that means that that dividend money is coming back to you, and you have a choice whether or not to take that money, reinvest it, or to take it and spend it. Now, if you buy stock that isn't paying a dividend, then you're basically hoping that that stock grows in value so eventually you can sell it. Dividend-paying stock is the type of stock that you buy when you really don't feel like watching the market every day. You just want to let the market ride, and you want to just sit back and collect money that you can choose what to do with. And me personally, I prefer it that way. So I don't foresee myself buying ChargePoint or EVgo or any of these vehicle charging stocks. I already own Tesla, and Tesla is going to do whatever Tesla does. Some people call Tesla a meme stock. Tesla doesn't pay a dividend. I wish it did. But if it ever does decide to pay a dividend, which I doubt it will, I'll already have plenty of Tesla, and I've already, benefited from profits that when I took profits on the Tesla stock that I have. If it grows anymore, I'll take even more later on. They say CEO says investment would meaningfully accelerate expansion. It says Chief Executive Officer Badar Khan called it a historic investment that would meaningfully accelerate our network expansion to provide public charging to EV drivers across the United States. Also Thursday, JP Morgan upgraded EVgo's stock, arguing that it would exceed industry peers' performance over the next few years. The bank raised its rating to outperform from neutral and reinstated its $7 price target. The analysts explained that EVgo's fast-charging owner-operator model has been scaling well, with higher utilization and charge rates in the current muted EV environment. EVgo shares added half of their value to $5.89 early Thursday afternoon, trading at their highest level since the spring of last year. Art investing for all. It says something about Picasso, but that's not important. That's not part of the story. So yeah, EVgo is slowly rising. So that's the news. And see, it's funny because you kind of have to juxtapose this with what's currently happening at Chrysler, which I basically do really quickly. Sadly enough, Stellantis is now facing another strike, and I believe that they sent out information over the phone trying to convince people not to go on strike, because they were telling them, listen, the STLA platform is coming and they're getting ready to launch these new cars and everything. And having a strike right now would probably disrupt business as usual. And they really wanted to avoid it, but it looks like the UAW has voted yes that we should proceed and go to strike. There's a very good chance that this means the end of Stellantis unionized workers in America in the long run. I don't know how this is going to play out. None of us know pretty much how this is going to play out. What we do know, however, is that Stellantis is a Dutch company. What we do know is that they have control of Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. What we do know is that they've nixed the V8 engine, and they probably are not bringing it back. What we do know is that they intend to put these twin-turbo bullshit 6 cylinders in these cars. What we do know is that these things do not have the highest reliability based on what we already see with the Grand Wagoneer. What we do know is that they plan on supplementing that with electric vehicles. Now, they haven't released anything as far as information goes on the Charger EV or the Wagoneer S. We don't know what kind of charging network these things are intended to be on. Chances are they'll either end up on Electrify America or EVgo. So far, the money that has been allotted from the government looks like it's going straight to EVgo, which is basically at this point being funded and partnered and installed through GM and their subsidiaries or whatever. So I don't know what part Stellantis will play on that, but what I do know is that the charging infrastructure, they have to expand it. Here in New York, when I first got my electric vehicle, I was only able to charge at one station nearby, which was 10 miles away, and there was only 2 chargers, and they could only accommodate 2 vehicles at a time. So you're talking about just 2 vehicles at a time having to take 40 minutes to an hour and a half to charge. I had home charging, and a lot of the other people also had home charging, but the problem is these car manufacturers keep giving out charging credits. If they keep giving out free charging credits, then you're basically enticing people to say, yeah, I'll just charge on your public network for free for whatever amount of time you give me. The problem is now you have people who have an incentive to go to the chargers rather than to just charge at home. I've met a lot of people who've come from out of state, people from Maine, people from New Jersey, people from Georgia. And the reality is when they're looking on their app and they're looking for a charger, they're coming to the charger and, they're betting that it's active or they're betting that it works and they're betting that there's no problems with it. And all that's doing is adding on to the number of people showing up at these chargers to charge their cars. To tell you the truth, I like going to the charger during some of my free time because it's kind of like I get to observe and I see, who's there, how many people are there, what time of the... I could almost be doing a survey if if they had hired me, I could be doing a survey, but I'm kind of doing this for myself. It's kind of like a social experiment. The thing about it is we're getting finally, this should have been done a long time ago. If we had wasted as much money on our own infrastructure, building up the wire, and it's funny because everybody's like, oh, these electric vehicles, they're never going to work. There's not enough power and all this. First of all, we have no trouble at all creating electricity. That's easy to create. Electricity we mostly create as a byproduct of burning fossil fuels. Whether you believe it's clean or not, the simple fact is what they've ultimately done is they've moved the point source pollution to someplace else. In this case, wherever they're burning their fossil fuels, that's where you can go and you can sequester carbon emissions and this, that, and the other. But what they've basically done is they've moved the point of emissions from the car itself back to a factory or back to some generator somewhere. However that electricity is produced. In some states, it's hydroelectric. Some states, it's nuclear. In some countries, it's nuclear. But that's irrelevant for right now. I'm not worried about that. The energy is mostly coming from the sun. And as far as I'm concerned, it's going to keep coming whether you use it or not, so you might as well use it. But long story short, if we had wasted as much money building up our infrastructure as we've done in Ukraine and freaking Israel, shit, we'd have charging stations everywhere by now because we've wasted that much money. You're talking about the government handing $1 billion over to do these chargers. Now, in Israel and Ukraine, we've wasted multiple billions of dollars. So we could have just as easily built up our own infrastructure here. Never, not to even mention like what's going down in Georgia right now. You know, like where you got a freaking part of the state is freaking flooded. It's like we could be doing stuff, you know, about our infrastructure rather than wasting money on foreign aid, you know. But it all comes down to who's in office. And I'm waiting to see who's the next person in office and whether or not that person is going to make any reasonable changes. Because regardless what they think, as far as I'm concerned, Kamala Harris is nothing but a rubber stamp. Trump is a little bit different, though, because regardless what this guy says, I don't believe anything dude says. He was literally trying to take us out of NATO. He was doing such a good job that they fought to get him out of office. And they started passing quiet laws to say that a president can't unilaterally pull us out of NATO and this, that, and other. And my thing is, you know what? I have to wonder, if you've got somebody who's literally trying to make peace with our enemies like North Korea and literally trying to take us out of positions that are basically tripwires that force America to constantly be functional in wars so that Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and all of those defense contractors can make all their money. I have to wonder whose side is he really on, because it doesn't look like he's on the defense contractor side. And for the most part, if you're really trying to make peace and avoid nuclear war and all these, you know, attacks and all this, seems to me that that's kind of what the American people voted for. That's what it seems to me. But we'll have to see what happens, because I will say this. If Kamala Harris is nothing more than a rubber stamp. She's an empty suit. She's the type of leader you absolutely fear. The empty suit puppet who, once they get in there, they have no idea what they're doing, why they're there, or what they're supposed to be doing. And they just get manipulated. And she doesn't strike me as she cares about this job. She doesn't strike me as the person who's ready to fight and kill and die for this job. She doesn't strike me as that type of person. She just doesn't strike me as that type of person. If you want the job of leading the American people, you've got to be ready to fight and kill and die for it. It's just like with that Superman movie where Zod told the president to kneel. He was like, I ain't getting down on my knees, buddy. And then they sent out the fake puppet guy, and Zod was like, wait a minute, you ain't the president. And he was like, how you know I'm not the president? He's like, no, if you're really the president, there's no way in hell you'd be kneeling to me that easily. It's like, that's got to be a fake guy. And then they bring out the real president. He was like, yeah, you know, I ain't got no choice, but I'm only kneeling because I have to, you know. But Kamala doesn't strike me as that person. She strikes me as a person who give up and run like the first. As soon as Zod comes through the window, she's leaving. You know, I don't know. I ain't voting for that. Y'all can vote for it. Y'all, Trump is evil. He tried to overthrow the Congress and everything. Listen, y'all can vote for that if you want, but I'm not. I'm sorry. So, long story short, as far as Stellantis goes, yeah, they're bracing for a strike. I have no idea what's going to happen. This guy, Carlos Tavares, he's got time left in his contract. I think they're going to either buy him out or whatever they got to do to get rid of him. Sean Fain wants to see him gone. They claim that Tavares was doing things to pump up the stock so that he could get a bonus for himself and this, that, and other. All of that's besides the point. As far as I'm concerned, the bottom line is Stellantis is dead. Stellantis contains more brands than just Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and Chrysler, right? Without those V8 engines, Chrysler's dead. Without the V8 engines, Dodge is dead. The Jeep product really doesn't rely on the V8 engine. I think it was ultimately the Jeep Grand Cherokee that pushed things in that direction. I don't really think the Jeep product absolutely relies on the V8. Now, those 392 Wranglers are cool. The Jeep Grand Cherokee was cool with the 392 and the Hellcat, but I really don't think that the Jeep product absolutely relies on the V8 engine. I think Jeep can survive without it. Ultimately, a lot of the people who buy a Jeep, a lot of them have no idea what they're actually buying. They don't they're buying a look. They're buying when they buy them Wranglers, they're buying those Wranglers because they think they look cool. When they buy Jeep Grand Cherokees, they're buying them because they got 3 rows and they fit their entire family. Most of the, it's funny, when I ask certain people what kind of engine they have, a lot of them can't tell me. Like I ask them, oh, do you have the 6-cylinder or what? A lot of them really don't know. And that's kind of weird. But a lot of them buy it because it's the car to buy. Like the Jeep Grand Cherokee, they were selling like damn near 300,000 of those things. Like the model I have, the WK2, they were selling like 300,000 of those a year, close to it, between 250 and 300,000. These things were ranging between like 40,000 and because of the Trackhawk, 100,000 or more, depending upon how much they decided to sell them for. Most of these people, they really didn't care. They just wanted the truck and they needed the size for their family. I could totally understand that. I think Jeep can survive. Ram, however, I'm not 100% certain about. Ram, without those V8 engines, and they're putting this twin turbo Hurricane freaking hairdryer nonsense in these trucks. I don't know what the reliability of those things is going to be. I don't know if a lot of the typical truck buyers who want to do truck things with the truck, I don't think they're going to stick with Ram. I don't know how much of an option they have because it looks like everything's moving in that direction. But for as long as there's a V8 or a diesel, I think they're going to stick with V8s and diesels, even if they have to pay more for it or maybe they'll just go for the cheapest V8 or diesel they can get, even if it's a used car. As far as these new Ram trucks, these things are like luxury cars inside, and I really like them, but I don't think that that's what a truck driver who does truck stuff is looking for. I don't think he's looking for a 12-inch Uconnect screen. I don't think he's looking for heated, cooled massage seats. I really don't think that that's what they're looking for. I think they're looking for something that's rugged, something that you can wet up, and all you got to do is hose it down. Something that if it gets filthy, all you got to do is just like pull it out and like beat it against a fence, and that's how you clean it. Like, I really don't think that these people are trying to buy a Lincoln Navigator inside or trying to buy a Cadillac Escalade. I think that most of these people really want work trucks. Now, there's the other group that buys luxury trucks because they want to be seen driving a truck and they want the feeling of luxury. For those people, the Hurricane engine might work out. I don't think that they really want to have to buy a Hurricane if they had the choice to buy a Hemi. But the Hemi is no longer a choice, and that's the problem that Stellantis is. Now, when it really comes down to it, most of their problems aren't so much because Stellantis is overpricing the few cars that they have that you absolutely want. I really think that their problem is that they have no future for some of these brands, i.e. Chrysler and Dodge, if you don't have that V8 engine. I was looking at this commercial, it was talking about, oh yeah, how can they convince people to buy Charger EVs? I don't think they can. I think the few people who want electric vehicles and like the look of the Charger, yeah, they'll buy it. Maybe the people who hate Elon Musk and they don't want a Tesla, they'll buy it. But the Dodge loyalist that has been produced over the last couple of years by offering, large amounts of affordable V8 power, I don't think you're getting those people. I'm sorry. I just don't think so. And based on what I've seen, I'm not really enthusiastic about the Charger EV. I'm actually interested in test driving that Wagoneer S, which might take a while. But they're so late on everything. Like, they're still building those Wagoneers right now. They're so late. Those cars should have been out. Like, they should have had test drives already. Everything's late. And I think that's not good for the company. So, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens with them. But I don't think things really are looking good for old Carlos over there. I really don't think they're looking good for him. But you'll hear about it because there's a bunch of YouTubers who are talking about it ad nauseum. and they'll let you they'll be the first to let you know about every single development, like, even the stuff that you're not thinking about, the stuff you don't care about. They'll be the first to let you know about it. Let's see. Other than that, I would say that with this GM thing, I'm glad GM and I'm glad the government is focusing on building up the charging infrastructure. I'm really glad about that. There are other companies popping up, such as Iona, or maybe you pronounce it Ion. I'm not really sure if it's Iona, Ion NA. I guess it's like Ion North America or something. That's like a weird name, but I just call it Iona. But anyway, they're launching these things called rechargeries, which are basically like gas stations that you use for electric vehicles. And supposedly they can accommodate like up to like 10 cars or whatever. So they're saying, yeah, Iona's Rechargery in Apex, North Carolina. This is the first one they've opened. They have 10 covered parking bays, and they have CCS or NACS charging ports capable of 400 kilowatts and 800 volts. Me personally, the way I'm thinking about it is we pretty much understand that Tesla got it right with NACS. Every single new EV that comes to market should basically have NACS built into it. I think some companies may not want to do that because they don't want to license the technology, but I really think all these EVs might as well just go to NACS as a plug. So this way they can easily connect to the Tesla supercharger network if need be, or they can go to just about anybody else. They've put out so many of these CCS combo cars, even mine is a CCS combo, that now you have to have these freaking expensive adapters. These things are like $200 each, $250. And I think in the future they need to get rid of that. Because, see, right now electric vehicles are in the infancy. Now, all these angry dudes on the internet, I hate electric vehicles, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? The government's already just shown you that they're willing to give $1 billion to that. Not a dime towards V8 engines, but they're giving $1 billion to electric vehicle charging stations. $1 billion of your dollars, mind the. So that's just telling you where this is going. Regardless what the sales of electric vehicles are, regardless what the depreciation rate, none of that matters at all. What matters is the fact that the governments themselves have gotten together and said, this is what the future looks like. So these Iona stations, this is just the first of many. I personally believe we'd be better off putting these charging stations behind Walmarts, Targets, Costco's, BJ's, and letting those stores handle things like garbage disposal and covering them up. Like, if they handled that, it would make so much more sense. Not only that, it would be an investment into people coming to their stores. I don't like shopping at Target. I've shopped at Target more since I got my electric vehicle than I've ever shopped at Target in my entire life. So you got to understand what I'm saying. Between now and January 2nd, when I got my electric vehicle, or no, in fact, I shouldn't say that. I should say between now and May, because that's when they opened up that new charger. I have gone and shopped at Target more than any amount of times in my entire existence, or Target's entire existence, because I personally don't like Target. However, because they have that electric vehicle charging station there, and you need something to do for 30 or 40 minutes, I've gone into Target, I've used their facilities, I've shopped there, and I've actually started to like shopping there. Like, their milk is affordable, their orange juice is okay. Some of the, what is it called, Good and Gather, some of the products that they sell, I've been testing out their pasta. I've been testing out some of their sauces. It's like their toilet paper. I've been testing out their toilet paper. I never would have bought that shit from there ever before, because normally I would have just shopped at Walmart. So I'm actually gaining an appreciation for Target that I never had before. So for them, that was a gamble putting chargers behind their lot, but it seems to be a gamble that's working. My issue is they need more chargers. Instead of 3 chargers that accommodate 2 cars apiece, they need 5 chargers that accommodate 2 chargers apiece. So this way you have 10 chargers. If they had 10 spaces there, it would take a lot of the pressure off of the individuals. And that's been the Tesla model up until now. Tesla was putting 8, 10, 12 chargers. If I'm not mistaken, Green Acres used to have, I think it was like 6, and then they expanded it and they put like 6 more. Because the Green Acres mall, like some of these locations, when they saw that the demand had grown because so many people were buying Teslas, they actually started adding even more chargers. That's what I want to see. That's where I want to see my tax dollars going. Because ultimately, whether you like it or not, this is the future. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, as far as I'm concerned, whether you like Trump or love him or hate him, or whether you like Kamala or love her or hate her, there's nothing that they can do to stop what's coming. Nothing. These automakers and these governments have already decided where we're going. Now, you have a choice. Either you drive or you don't. If you don't want to drive, you can take a bus. You can take a train. You could ride a bike. You have every right to buy a car. You just don't have a right to drive it. That's a privilege. So if these New York City, California, they've already said, oh yeah, by a certain year you won't be allowed to have gas cars in there. They'll treat this shit just like cigarette smoke. They will literally tell you, yeah, we're not going to give you a registration and we're not going to honor your registration. You're not allowed to drive that car here. And that'll just be what it is. And who will you fight? If you came from out of state, what are you going to go to the Congress? Are you going to go to the state legislator? No, you're not. You're just going to park your car and you're going to get on public transportation. And that's it. And that's what it is. The government has more than enough ways to get you to stop doing something. They have plenty of ways. Taxation, regulation, licensing. They have so many ways to do it. But I already see it coming. And a lot of people, I think, either are starting to see it or they're just in denial. I think that's what it is. Because, that's Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's stages of grief. At first, it's like, shock, and then it's anger. Or I think denial comes first. I think it's denial, shock, anger, and then bargaining, where you try to bargain. And then after that, you end up at acceptance, where you just accept it. Because there's nothing you can do about it. So, yeah, a lot of these car buyers, they're in grief. Because they know that all the cool cars are going away. I won't be able to drift. There will be no more manuals. If I make too much noise with my car, they'll send me $1,000 ticket in the mail. And if I don't pay it, they'll cancel my license. Yeah, that's pretty much how the government works. That's pretty much how it works. And that's just it. So, yeah, they've got more than enough ways to skin a cat. Way more than enough ways. But that's basically all I got to say. So those are the 3 things that are happening this week. So that's like one stock market or at least 2 stock market updates, I guess. Because I don't know if Iona is publicly traded, but pretty soon they'll probably try to be. I personally don't see that business model being profitable anytime soon. I think Target, Walmart, even Best Buy, I think this could seriously be helpful to the... First of all, I hate Best Buy. Like, if you pick these big stores that are teetering on the edge and you add something like this, that's the only way I can see bringing people to come to those stores. I hate Best Buy. I hate Best Buy. I would never go to a Best Buy. But if Best Buy had an EVgo charger in the back of it, I'd probably go to Best Buy. If they had a couple of them, and they were all rapid charges, I'd probably go to Best Buy. But I hate Best Buy. Same goes for BJ's. I really don't like going to BJ's either. I like going to Costco. If BJ's put some chargers there, I guess I'd be more likely to go to BJ's. Same thing goes for Costco. I love Costco, but if you put those chargers there, I'd be more likely to go to Costco. We need to settle on a standard. If that standard's going to be NACS, then that's going to be the standard. We need to settle on a standard, and we need to settle on how we're going to do this. It looks like the government was just letting it go, and they were letting private industries figure out how they wanted to deal with it. But more likely, you're starting to see that the Tesla model makes more sense. So that may probably be the way that we're going to end up going. But that's basically all I had to say. So question, comments, criticism, all those can go in the comment section.